Namaste. I love an early morning bike ride. The air is cooler, it's peaceful, there's less traffic around on the roads, there's less people on the walkways. It's just altogether a more pleasant experience and a great way to start a long bike ride. This morning's bike ride, I'm going to show you the ride from Currumbin Valley all the way to the Spit at Main Beach at the northern end of the Gold Coast. So let's have fun. As with any longer ride, the important thing is to pace oneself and take it in stages, setting yourself smaller goals, and then before you know it, you've achieved the entire journey. Of course, one of the other advantages to being on the bike early is that it's usually before the breeze or the wind has come up, which also makes the riding more pleasant and a lot easier. So, the start of this journey along the coast starts here at Southern Palm Beach on the first part of the bike path as we begin to head north towards the Seaway. The interesting thing about riding along beside the beachfront as I ride along through Jefferson Avenue and in Palm Beach is that there's a mixture of very expensive $1 million homes sitting right next to other old homes that have been there for 50 years or more. Real estate is very valuable, and the older places get bought, knocked down and rebuilt as beautiful new mansions. So I'm now at the northern end of Palm Beach, riding along this beautiful track that takes me up beside Tallabudget Creek. Straight ahead is the Burleigh Heads National Park, beautiful headland. There's Tallabudget Creek off to the side, and I love the boardwalks. Boardwalks are just magnificent. Let's go across the Tallabudget Creek Bridge where the highway is. And we're now coming into Burleigh Heads. Ahead of me is the Burleigh Headland National Park and the Aboriginal Tours office just off to the right there. So it's time now to ride into Miami. Just going beside the highway now, and then we'll be connecting back up with the bike path beside the ocean. As I ride along the bike path in Hedges Avenue in Mermaid Beach. This is also known as Millionaire's Row. It has the most expensive beachfront houses on the Gold Coast. Some amazingly large properties, very impressive, many millions of dollars. And this bike path serves for bicycles going in both directions and can get quite busy. So you have to exercise caution when riding along here because there will be many bikes coming in the opposite direction and some of them travelling quite fast. So the next suburb that I've just come into is Broadbeach, riding along the beachfront path, heading north into Surfers Paradise next, and starting to get into where a lot of the high rises are. So you can see now as we start leaving Broadbeach and getting into Surfers Paradise, you can see the high rises starting to thicken to the most concentrated area of high rises on the coast, which is in Surfers Paradise. And in fact, the first high rise ever built on the coast, I think it was called Kinkaboo, was built in Surfers. So let's get on to Garfield Terrace, which takes us right along the beach side of Surfers Paradise as we head north towards the Seaway. The most well-known part of the Gold Coast is Surfers Paradise, and the most well-known bit of Surfers Paradise is the beach. And probably the most well-known street in the most well-known suburb on the coast is Cavill Avenue, which I'm just going past now if I wasn't stopping at these lights. So the next suburb north of Surfers Paradise is Main Beach. So let's check it out now. This is a beautiful wide path as we go through a section known as Narrow Neck, and we start to see more high rises again as we get into the main part of Main Beach. So the last part of the ride takes us through the northern part of Main Beach up to the seawall. And it's very pleasant riding through here. There's the ocean breeze, there's the coolness of the shade under the trees. It's interesting to note the type of trees that you see here, this scrubby sort of land. A lot of the Gold Coast was like this before it was developed. I'm glad that there are still parts of the Gold Coast protected from development, such as along here. And when I look at the bush, it just reminds me of how the coast was when I first came here in 1970. So on the left there you can see the Seaway, and I'm just heading up to the rock wall. So I've made it to the Seaway. I couldn't go right to the end of the wall because there's too much sand to ride through, but that's a 34-kilometre ride from my place in Currumbin Valley, and I hope that's inspired you to get on your bike and explore your local area. Now I've got to start the long ride home.